Hi, I'm Lee.
And I'm Phương.
And today we will be learning about Chapter 31, which is about World War II.
World War II was a world war fought between 1939 to 1945 between the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan, and the Allies, including Great Britain and France, and later the Soviet Union and the United States.
So our focus question is, what were the causes leading up to World War II and what were the effects?
We'll tell you after this.
First, one of the causes of World War II was the signing of Treaty of Versailles.
The Treaty of Versailles was one of the peace treaties at the end of World War II. It ended the state of war between Germany and the Allied powers. It was signed on June 28, 1919, exactly 5 years after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Germany was forced to pay the reparations of approximately $75 billion for the loss and damage caused by the war.
Our problem has tormented all of us. Long ago, the Diktat of Versailles bestowed this problem on us. And its depravity and degeneracy, it has now become insufferable. Danzig was a German city and is a German city. The corridor was German and is German. These regions owe their cultural development exclusively to German folk. Without this folk, these eastern regions would still be plunged in the depths of barbarism. Danzig was torn from us. Poland annexed the corridor. The German minorities living there are being persecuted in the vilest manner imaginable. In the year 1919 and 1920, over 1 million men of German blood were forced to leave their homeland. As always, I sought about a change by peaceful means, by offering proposals to remedy this situation, which meanwhile had become unbearable.
This document suggests that because of the Treaty of Versailles, Germany has been going through an economic crisis due to the reparations. Poland annexed the corridor and the Germans were persecuted through the worst way. Over 1 million Germans were forced to leave their homes. He is saying that because of all the burden brought upon Germany, there is no peaceful resolution to the situation. Therefore, he is forced to use
Hitler
violence.
wanted to claim Poland and to stop the mistreatment of the Germans living in Poland, but he knew that if he approached Poland, he could put himself in a bad situation.
And would have to face a two-front war with Russia in the east and Britain and France in the west. To avoid that scenario, Hitler decided to develop a relation with Stalin.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
So here's the non-aggression pact.
I'll sign first.
I second.
Okay.
Thank you very much. The Non-Aggression Pact was signed on August 23, 1939 between the two, stated that neither would not aid a third party that attacked either countries, that neither shall take military action against each other for 10 years.
In exchange for the Soviets agreeing to not join the possible future war, Germany was to give the Soviets the Baltic states, which were Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Poland was also divided between the two, along with Nauru, Vistula, and the San River.
September 1, 1939, Germany bombarded Poland as Hitler sought to regain lost territory and rule Poland. The Germans used the Blitzkrieg strategy to obtain Poland. The Blitzkrieg, meaning lighting war, was characterized by extensive bombing early on to destroy the enemy's air capacity, railroads, communication lines, and munitions dumps, followed by a massive land invasion with overwhelming numbers of troops, tanks, and artillery.
Once the German forces had plowed their way through, devastating a swath of territory, infantry moved in, picking off any remaining resistance. In other words, you hit them hard and fast with everything you got in a coordinated effort. By the time the invader could figure out what was going on, it's already time to surrender. To successfully take over Poland, Hitler's troops invaded western Poland, while Stalin's troops bombarded eastern Poland.
This is a map of areas where World War II took place. The green belongs to the Allies, yellow is the Axis, peach is the areas under Axis control, and the purple is the neutral areas. Green arrows are where Allies were heading, and red arrows are where the Axis were heading.
His actions shows convincingly that there is no chance of expecting this man will ever give up his practice of using force to gain his will. He can only be stopped by force. We have a clear conscience that we have done all that any country could do to establish peace. But the situation in which no word given by Germany's ruler could be trusted, and no people or country could feel itself safe, had become intolerable. And now that we have resolved to finish it, I know that you will all play your part with calmness and courage. On September 3rd, 1939, we declare war on Germany.
Even though the Soviet Union also took part in invading Poland, France and Britain did not declare war on them. The defensive pact between Poland, Britain, and France said nothing about Russia.
They were not able to battle Germany and the Soviet Union at the same time. But when Germany invaded Russia on June 22, 1941, Hitler broke the non-aggression pact by invading Russia. Russia switched sides and joined the Allies.
Back in Germany, Hitler decided to blame the Jews for Germany's economic and social problems.
The Holocaust was the annihilation of 6 million Jews and also undesirable people such as gypsies, homosexuals, disabled people, and the mentally ill, communists, and even Catholics. The Jews were forced to wear the Star of David for identification.
Where the Jews at?
Got you!
Where's the other one?
Come back here!
Unfortunately, those caught by the Nazis were often sent to the ghettos to live, were starved, beaten, tortured, gassed, burned, etc.
Get in there.
The beliefs of a pure German race, which were being blonde, blue-eyed, and tall, were the ideology of the government after Hitler and the Nazis came to power.
Burn, you books. Burn.
The Holocaust came to an end when the Allies won and liberated Europe and prisoners from the camps. Instead of admitting defeat and facing capture, Hitler committed suicide on April 30, 1945.
Japan underwent imperialistic expansion and took over China, the Philippines, and other Southeast Asian countries. This caused the U.S. to become worried and placed a natural resource embargo on the Japanese.
Japan saw this as an act of war, which eventually led to the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The attack was in order to prevent the U.S. from interfering with military actions that Japan was planning against territories that belonged to the U.K., U.S., and Netherlands.
China fought Japan with some economic help from Germany, the Soviet Union, and the United States. After the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, China officially joined the Allies and issued a formal declaration war on Japan and other Axis powers, thereby pushing the Sino-Japanese War into the greater conflict of World War II as a major front, which was also known as the Pacific War.
The war was the result of a decades-long Japanese imperialist policy aimed at expanding its influence politically and militarily in order to secure access to raw material, reserves, and other economic resources in the area, particularly food and labor, and engage war with others due to the aggressive modernized militarism in the Asia-Pacific. This is a graph that shows the amount of tanks produced and utilized during World War II. Dark blue is Japan, red is the UK, green is Germany, purple is the United States, light blue is the Soviet Union. Let's see what's in today's secret compartment.
It's a radio! This is a scene of the bombing of Pearl Harbor by Yamamoto.
Breaking news. Japan had just launched an attack on Pearl Harbor.
What?
No way! No way!
This is a scene of Hiroshima being bombed by the U.S.
Breaking news.
The U.S. just dropped 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
The U.S. dropped the nuclear bombs to avoid having to invade Japan, which could cost many American lives and many more Japanese lives in the process.
After the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan surrendered and World War II ended. Here is a chart of deaths during World War II. 65% were U.S. Soviet Union, 23% were the Chinese,
3% were the Yugoslavians, 2% were the Americans, 2% were the English, 1% were the French, 1% were the Polish, and 3% were others.
Nowadays, chaos in Ukraine due to conflicts between Ukraine and Russia, government corruption, and regime change sparked demonstrations and protests.
There have been many deaths during this conflict. Russia recently annexed Crimea, which angered Ukrainians. Therefore, a large-scale war can break out due to the advancement of weapons.